Chief Fresh, you're reminding me of how awkward I sounded when I worked in the South for 7 years and I kept saying, you guys this and you guys that, and it was y'all. Y'all think the 2025 offers are made to combat NIL so that they can get a head start on relationships.
I mean, I guess so, but at the same time, I think that what we're seeing are just some absolute outstanding football players coming through here in that 2025 class, guys with the size. I mean, they're running 40s for the Ohio State staff. The Ohio State staff is timing these kids in the 40-yard dash at Ohio State, and they have collected all this data from hundreds and over 1,000 kids they'll have data on after these camps are over with. So they know who the best of the best, the fastest of the fastest. And from working with them one-on-one, you can determine immediately whether a kid is capable of internalizing a concept and putting it out there on the field and using a technique that you're teaching them on the fly, which is all important with this game of football. So it's kind of a information gathering phase here. And when you have somebody that checks every one of these boxes, it's pretty easy to offer them a scholarship. And they're not showing up sight unseen. They know who's coming. And because they know who's coming, they have studied the videotape of these players. They have their transcripts. They invited them to come to camp, in many cases, the top prospects. So it's not a case where they're making a snap decision. In many cases, they knew 92% they were going to offer them, provided they checked out on the field. So that's kind of the way that it works. There was one player, an offensive lineman from Avon, I believe, Luke Hamilton, maybe a 2024 player. I think we were all a little surprised. He did not get immediately offered. He's a 2024 player from Avon. Luke Hamilton was not offered at the Tuesday camp, but I think there is a thought that Justin Fry will get through the camp on Tuesday and then take into account everybody he's watched and maybe make some offers at that point. I think one last thing I'll say, because I don't want to dominate the entire time talking about this, but offensive line in particular, they're kind of behind the eight ball. I mean, I like Greg Studerawa, but his recruiting left a little bit to be desired. He got Paris Johnson and he got Donovan Jackson. And after this season, when you figure DeJuan Jones is probably gone, Matthew Jones is probably gone, Paris Johnson most certainly. I mean, I read something today, Paris Johnson could be a top 10 pick. Tony, I don't know if Paris Johnson came out on the practice field there today while you were there, but he was out there the other day, and he looks like he's going to play 15 years in the NFL. I mean, he is a lean, mean, fighting machine. He is ready to go, and still got 2 more months till camp begins. I mean, or 6 weeks, I guess. He is going to have a year, I think. So my long and short of this is, okay, you've got Montgomery committed. You've got Austin Siravad, or however you pronounce that name, Siravold. And then Joshua Padilla, I think, from Wayne High School. You've got those 3 guys committed. If you're taking any more offensive linemen, they need to be of that Paris Johnson, Donovan Jackson ilk, and not a project, not a person who's going to help you in years 4 and 5. I fully believe if they lose DeJuan Jones, Matthew Jones, Paris Johnson, I figure Whippler and Donovan Jackson, he's an indentured servant for 1 more year after this. But Whippler, I would figure, would be back. You're going to need to get in the portal and maybe get 2 starters out of the portal for 2023, trying to keep the year straight. So I've just riffed on offensive line there for about 5 minutes, but They got some work to do there, and so I think he's being very judicious with the offers from these camps. With 23 kids in particular, you got to be a top 100 kid to get an offer for 23, and then for 2024, you've got to be really good. So he's going slow.
Yeah, and as the calendar moves later in 2023, the 2023 class, then your options, you can widen them, and that's when you start to reach. You don't want to be reaching at all, but if you still need guys, and then you have to decide, do you reach or do you bank it for 2024? How are you doing right now in building the 2024? Because that's where a lot of the relationship building is being spent right now with Justin Fry as well, because you're playing catch up with 2023. You're trying to not have to play catch up with 2024. You're trying to hit that in stride. So you're spending time on that. Back to the original question of the 2025 offers being to combat NIL, I think it's just a sign of the times, more so like the clock has sped up and it continues to speed up. And I don't know that you're combating NIL, you're just combating other teams. Like you want to be known. Now, if you offer an Ohio kid, you better be prepared for them to commit. You offer anybody else, and it's some of these offers are like candy. You just give them away, and then that's how you let them know that you were really interested. Not all of those kids with those offers can commit because they can try, and Ohio State will be like, "Well, come back to camp. We'll see how you are." And in the 2025 kid right now, like there may be only a handful of kids they would even accept commitments from. So it's just the way of the world. It's getting your foot in the door with a lot of these kids and building those bases, the basis of those relationships, because it takes time, and sometimes you have to do it with an offer to let people know you're serious.